Hello and welcome to Runkle of the Bailey. My name is Ian Runkle. I'm a Canadian criminal defense and firearms lawyer. Today I want to share a story of how the RCMP apparently bungled a cross-border smuggling operation. Let's call it Operation Frost and Furious just because that'll be fun. Alright, so I'm looking at an article here. It's from montanarightnow.com. I'm not going to read you the whole article, but I'll give you a little bit of the sort of key bits, and I'll link the full article in the description below. I will note that the article itself is actually a little generous to the police here, because it doesn't really spell out the depths of how much they screwed up. So let's have a look here. So the headline is Canadian Police Found in Undercover Operation at Great Falls Gun Show. And it notes, according to Cascade County Sheriff Jesse Slaughter, local county employees and people noticed someone with Canadian plates watching people at the gun show. Now, I'm just going to stop here and say this guy is Sheriff Slaughter. Outstanding. That is some great naming right there. All right, so upon that happening, the police responded to this and the operation was shut down because they discovered that this was an RCMP operation and that they'd been working with the ATF, but they hadn't decided to let local law enforcement in on the fact that they were running an undercover operation at this gun show, where they were apparently sort of cruising around and taking notes of people and watching, people. But they were noticed, of course, because they've got Canadian plates and because this is weird behavior. So, some people might be saying, why are they doing this? Why are Canadian police at a US gun show? Well, what they're probably trying to do is take note of people and then see if there's anybody who buys stuff there or is at that gun show and then shows up at the border the next couple of days to, they're going to think, okay, maybe that's somebody trying to buy guns and move them across the border. All right, fair enough. I mean, they're doing their investigations, they're working with the ATF, but it's pretty basic stuff here that you talk to local law enforcement. And the reason why is that you always want to have everyone sort of looped in. The same reason why if you're filming some sort of movie that might involve using, fake guns or, actual firearms that have been modified for filming, you want to let the local police know that you're doing a thing so that they don't roll up and maybe get excited, because that can be dangerous. And in fact, Sheriff Slaughter, that's such a great name. Yeah, that's hilarious. He notes this and he says that could have been extremely, extremely dangerous. And then you had the variable that there was a Canadian law enforcement officer in there, and that would have been an international incident, said Slaughter. Because there's the real possibility that they hear about some weird person, at this gun show, and they think it's an entirely different thing, that they think that this is some sort of criminal activity, and they show up, and US police are not exactly known for their restraint when they're responding to things. Let's say they show up and the officer reaches for a cell phone or reaches for a badge or reaches for any of the other things that police officers have confused for guns over the years, and they get into a shootout and someone dies. Well, now we've got, as they said, an international incident. Yeah, but when I said that they bungled this operation, I mean, this undercover operation is less, Bond, James Bond, or my name is Michael Weston. And the tradecraft is more along the lines of high school stalker. Pro tip, if you are doing surveillance in another country, you might want to rent or borrow or download a car that has local plates so that you don't stick out so much, just kind of blend in with the environment. Or, if nothing else, maybe park 10 blocks away and walk down so that you're not as obvious. That would seem to be a thing that would be worthwhile. If your undercover operation doesn't involve you actively trying to pretend to be a criminal in order to involve yourself in criminal activity, you should probably not stand out so much that the local people at the gun show decide to call you in thinking that you are possibly involved in some sort of crime. That would seem to be the point, is to be a little more inconspicuous than they were. And again, you want to loop in local law enforcement so that you don't potentially end up in some sort of chaotic event like that. That's really not impressive. yeah, hopefully somebody's getting a talking to over this one. And you might think, oh well, you're being silly about this. It could never have gone that badly. Let's go back to the article here, because I'm just going to show you something on this most popular thing on the right tab here. And we're just going to, just highlight this one. Wanted person deceased following officer-involved shooting in Great Falls. So the same officers, like the same police department, just got into an officer-involved shooting, which is, of course, wonderful police language for the police shot somebody. It's nobody else in the world phrases anything like, officer involved. It's, I'm going to go have a Runkle involved eating incident later. No, you just say I ate dinner. So anyway, yeah, there is real possibility here that somebody could have been killed. This is absolutely bizarre there. And I'll just read sort of a further quote here. This is again from Sheriff Slaughter. We want to work with our federal partners. We do. And I want to have a working relationship with them. We've always had a really good working relationship. But there needs to be that mutual respect. Yeah, it is kind of, why would you cut out the local law enforcement? Oh, well, probably because you just didn't think that much of them. And you didn't think, hey, maybe they should be looped in. Somebody should be getting a talking to about this one. I mean, there is a legitimate, we like to see investigations to stop cross-border smuggling, because here in Canada, the vast majority of crimes committed with firearms, certainly almost the entirety of violent crimes committed with firearms, are committed by people who have smuggled their guns in, who have them illegally in Canada, as opposed to licensed firearm owners. The trouble licensed firearm owners tends to get in is things like, I let my license lapse, or I have a storage, issue, or something like that, as opposed to I was walking around dealing drugs with a handgun tucked in my pocket. That's the stuff that typically happens with these smuggled firearms. So it is a priority for everybody to try to, see this stuff dealt with. Just maybe a little better than this, for next time. Anyway, I kind of wanted to share this story with you. I thought it was a little bit ridiculous. I didn't come up with the Operation Frost and Furious thing. That was somebody else on the Discord. Yeah, I just thought it was pretty good. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And I also want to thank my Patreon supporters at the $50 level, Canada's National Firearms Association, the CCFR, and the Canadian Shooting Sports Association; at the $30 level, Sights and Arms Limited; and at the $20 level, Mark, Jane Baven Luxor, Haywire, Dale Nesbitt, Cameron Johnson, Bruno R., Andrew Elsich, and Vicky. Thank you as well to the $10 supporters who will be in the crawl immediately following. Yeah, this one's kind of a short, lighthearted one, but I thought I'd share it with you just because it kind of made me shake my head a little bit. Anyway, thank you for watching. See you next time.